Carpenter has served on the county commission. Mike, welcome back. Glad to have you on 3 at 3.
Good to be back.
Let's talk about this Ford case and what does it mean for that district representation and going forward, maybe even with some of the programs that he had been working on.
Well, I think that, between now and March the 9th, if the commission is able to stay on that schedule, certainly the district won't have a representative in place for that time period. But it's pretty quick time frame that the commission is on to try to appoint a replacement.
When it comes to appointing that replacement, I guess the other issue that this also creates is who can run? Do you appoint somebody who can also be on the ballot potentially? And what type of conflict can that lead to potentially?
Well, when I was on the commission, we made a huge number of appointments during the 5 years I was there for various reasons, people passing away, people resigning, taking other jobs. And we had a general rule, though it certainly wasn't codified anywhere, that as a group we preferred to appoint somebody to the interim appointment who was not planning on running, so that somebody doesn't get an advantage. There's always an advantage if you're the incumbent. And so that was our general rule, but there's nothing that says in the rules of procedure of the county commission that they can't appoint somebody who's planning on running for the seat. So that'll be something that will be a part of the discussion, I'm sure, and different commissioners will take different positions on that. But it can definitely give somebody an advantage if they're planning on running for the seat later on.
And Mike, looking into your crystal ball when it comes to maybe some of the grants that Mr. Ford had been working on before leaving, how does that potentially work?
Well, I think after his guilty plea, I think the commission has to take a look at the grant program. It was put together with the best of intentions, named for former Commissioner Milton, and has done a lot of good. But clearly the rules aren't tight enough. Looking at the regulations and the requirements involved and making sure that everything is above board, I think, is something the commission has to do now.
No doubt about it. Sticking with county government and county politics, the county mayor's race, we're kind of seeing some tallies right now. Several candidates have thrown their name into the hat, so to speak. What are you seeing financially there? What kind of tale is this telling already?
Yeah, so all the candidates just had to report on February 2nd what they had raised in this last 6-month period. And everybody focuses on, even the candidates themselves focus on how much money have they raised overall. But the number that matters is how much you have on hand, because where we are now in mid-February, basically, this race is early May, at least in the Democratic primary and the Republican primary. And so you want to spend typically about 75% of your funds. This is what I would tell a candidate if I were advising, 75% of your funds in the last 45 days. So you're looking at the candidates now who have the most on hand to spend as being the clear front runners, and that's J.B. Smiley, Councilman J.B. Smiley, and Commissioner Mikel Lowry, who each, I think Smiley has about 15,000 more, about 330,000 on hand, and Lowry has about 315,000 on hand.
Any surprises there with any of the candidates who possibly have not raised a lot of money yet? Yeah,
I think there is one surprise, and that's Heidi Kuhn, the only female in the race. She reported $183,000 on hand. $100,000 of that is a loan, but it all spends the same. So I think that gets her in the mix for sure in a race where the vote could be very much divided into smaller percentages.
And I have to ask you, what about Marie Fagans? What role is she playing in this right now, you think?
So I think Marie Fagans, I've made the case on my own social media multiple times that I think that she's going to have a hard time winning this race for a number of reasons, but I think that's sort of underscored by her fundraising at this point. Right now she's only raised a total of about $28,000 and only has $15,000 on hand. So $15,000 compared to $330,000 and not much time, but she's going to have to raise a lot of money to be competitive.
One last thing I do want to ask about very quickly here, when it comes to legislative matters in Nashville, we're still hearing more and more that the state state intervention involving Memphis Shelby County Schools could still likely take place. What are you hearing?
Yeah, I think it's going to take place. I mean, I think the combination of the two sponsors, Senator Taylor and Representative White, getting on the same page this year as opposed to last year about what the bill should look like is key, of course. The second thing is the results of the audit. We don't know what they are, but the rumblings around that is that there are definitely some issues around the audit. And so I think the momentum is there. I would call it a takeover, not an intervention, because ultimately this 9-member board that's going to be appointed will have veto power over anything the elected school board wants to do.
A takeover and not an intervention.
Correct.
Always glad to have you back.
Thanks so much.
Let's do it again and very soon.
Absolutely.
All right, a short break. We'll be back.